Yo everyone, Nate here. Today we're going to be answering the question of who is the most difficult tank to play in World of Warcraft. I'll be ranking each tank from the easiest to the hardest for the second season of Dragonflight. Before I get started, I do want to mention that these rankings are based on the skill floor of each spec and how easy it is to pick up and go. And just due to the nature of the video, a large amount of this is my opinion, and I'd love to hear in the comments below if you agree or disagree. So let's kick things off with the easiest tank, Guardian Druid. At a base level, Druid is pretty simple. You have minimal buttons in your core rotation, and a lot of your utility is situational or niche. You can be first timing the spec and easily have high impact in your dungeons just by being super tanky and helping your group with passive healing talents that you never really have to think about. It's not difficult at all to see good results with Druid, and based on their tuning currently as well, it's a solid pick. Next up on the chopping block, we have Protection Warrior. Now I'd say Warrior is pretty close to Druids in terms of its simplicity. There's not too much to think about at its core. They have access to a lot of defensive, some very niche utility that barely sees any use, and rotationally the hardest part is spending procs as they happen. The state of Warrior currently does leave a little to be desired in the defensive department when you compare it to the likes of Bear, but that's a pretty unfair comparison right now, let's be honest. Now, Vengeance Demon Hunter does require more skill expression than the previously two mentioned, but at a base level it's still pretty straightforward. Rotationally there is a little more going on, but the utility is pretty limited, which gives you less to think about. The rotation isn't the only factor that can make a class more difficult though. Guardian Druid can just brainlessly thrash away, while a class like DH needs to pick and choose what they press a little more selectively. They can be punished if you're unprepared for new packs or boss mechanics, and as such it will take you a tad bit more time to learn DH compared to that of Druid or Warrior. Blood DK is a great example of a spec that has a higher skill floor. They are in a unique position where they have sole agency over their own survivability. Their defensive arsenal might seem smaller than its tanking counterparts, but their strength comes from the ability to heal themselves for massive amounts. Learning how to efficiently make use of your runic power can take a while to get used to, and as a result, it can take way more time to see good results. Moving up, we've now run into a class that at the top level can be quite demanding and complex. With Paladin, the difficulty resides in their utility. With the introduction of Holy Power Bar, it can take some time to wrap your head around their rotation. Maintaining your mitigation, keeping track of passive stacks, being aware of judgment resets, combined with aiding your team are just a few things that make Paladin a little more difficult to pick up. Being able to support your team is something that no other tank spec does as regularly, so learning this can take a lot of time. And lastly, we have Brewmaster. Mechanically demanding is a phrase I would use for Brewmaster in Dragonflight. They're extremely button bloated, which increases the difficulty of making the right decisions about what buttons to press and when. They can be very volatile, their low health pools and stagger being weaker than it used to be catches a lot of people by surprise. But like Death Knight, they have a large amount of self-sustain if you play it well. The potential for the spec is absolutely insane in certain environments, but the complexity makes other specs more appealing, especially when they're doing similar numbers. Think smarter, not harder. Alright guys, before I wrap things up, I want to tell you a little bit about my Metafy coaching. I offer free consultations for anyone interested, and for good prices you can find yourself claiming that juicy IO or those pink passes. With a ton of prior coaching experience, I can help you become a better player. So there you have it, my rankings from the easiest to hardest for every tank in Dragonflight Season 2. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comments below, and you can catch me when I'm live over on my Twitch, the link is in the description. Good luck out there, and I'll see you all next time.